Let me tell you something that stopped me cold the first time I read it in the research literature. Scientists who study human aging for a living, people who have spent their entire careers measuring, tracking, and analyzing how the body changes over time, have consistently found that the earliest, most reliable, and most predictive sign that your body is beginning to age is not what shows up in your blood work. It is not the wrinkles on your face. It is not even your cardiovascular fitness. It is the strength, speed, and coordination of your legs. Your legs begin aging before anything else. And the rate at which they decline predicts with remarkable accuracy how the rest of your health trajectory will unfold over the following decade. Grip strength gets a lot of attention in aging research, but leg power, the ability to generate force quickly and controllably from your lower body, is actually a stronger predictor of mortality risk, fall risk, cognitive decline, and loss of independence than almost any other single physical measure. Let that sink in for a moment, and then stay right here because I am going to give you 5 specific daily exercises that directly target the aging mechanisms in your legs that take less than 20 minutes that you can do at home starting today, and that have the research behind them to back up every single claim I am going to make. Welcome, and if this is your first time here, I am genuinely glad you found this channel. I am Dr. Alex Morgan, and this is the Aging Wellness Lab, a place where we go deep into the science of how the human body ages and come back with real, practical, actionable information that you can use in your actual daily life. No fluff, no filler, no supplement pitches, just honest science translated into honest guidance. If that is what you have been looking for, hit subscribe right now and tap the like button before we go any further. It helps this channel reach more people who need this kind of information, and I promise you today's content is worth sharing with every person over 60 that you care about. All right, let us build the full picture together, starting with why the legs age first, because once you understand the biology, these 5 exercises stop being just a routine and start being a strategy. Your legs are home to the largest muscles in your body. The quadriceps at the front of your thigh, the hamstrings at the back, the glutes above, and the calves below. These muscle groups collectively represent more than 60% of your total skeletal muscle mass. They are responsible not just for walking and climbing stairs, but for balance, posture, shock absorption, circulation, metabolic regulation, and even cognitive function through the hormones and signaling molecules they release when they contract. When these muscles are strong and well coordinated, the entire body functions better. When they decline, the ripple effects are felt everywhere. There are 3 primary biological mechanisms through which leg aging occurs, and understanding them is foundational to understanding why the exercises I am about to share are designed the way they are. The first mechanism is neuromuscular deterioration. Your leg muscles are controlled by motor neurons, nerve cells that run from your spinal cord all the way down to the individual muscle fibers in your legs. These are some of the longest nerve pathways in your body, and length makes them particularly vulnerable to age-related changes. As we get older, motor neurons begin to drop out. They die and are not fully replaced. The muscle fibers those neurons controlled become denervated, essentially orphaned, and they atrophy. The surviving motor neurons try to compensate by adopting the orphaned fibers, but this creates larger, less precise motor units that generate cruder, less coordinated movements. The result is the trembling, the unsteadiness, the slower reaction time, and the loss of fine motor control in the lower body that most people notice in their 60s and 70s and attribute simply to getting old. It is not just getting old, it is a specific measurable neuromuscular process, and it responds to specific targeted training. The second mechanism is vascular decline. Your legs are the farthest point from your heart in the entire circulatory system. Blood has to travel the longest distance to get there and work hardest against gravity to return. As the arteries stiffen with age and the microvascular network, the tiny capillaries that supply individual muscle fibers, becomes less dense, blood flow to the legs diminishes. This means less oxygen delivery, slower nutrient supply, and accumulation of metabolic waste products in the muscle tissue. The heaviness, the fatigue, the cramping, the feeling that your legs just do not have the energy they used to, these are often vascular in origin, not muscular. And circulatory decline in the legs accelerates the muscle loss because muscle tissue that is chronically underperfused cannot maintain itself, cannot repair micro damage from daily use, and cannot respond effectively to the anabolic hormones that would otherwise promote muscle growth. The third mechanism is the hormonal shift. Testosterone, growth hormone, and insulin-like growth factor, the primary anabolic hormones that drive muscle maintenance and repair, all decline substantially after 50, and the large muscles of the lower body are among the most sensitive to this hormonal change. When the anabolic environment weakens, the balance tips toward catabolism, muscle breakdown, and the legs feel it first and feel it hardest. This hormonal mechanism is also why older adults need to work harder, train more consistently, and pay more attention to nutrition than younger people just to maintain the muscle they already have, let alone build more. Here's the important point that brings all three mechanisms together. Exercise, specifically the right kind of exercise targeting the right movement patterns, addresses all three of these mechanisms simultaneously. It stimulates the neuromuscular system, forcing motor neurons to fire and creating adaptations that preserve and enhance nerve-to-muscle communication. It drives angiogenesis, the growth of new capillaries, improving microvascular density and blood flow in the legs. And it triggers a hormonal response, a release of testosterone, growth hormone, and IGF-1 that partially counteracts the age-related hormonal decline and creates a local anabolic environment in the exercised muscles. This is why exercise is the single most powerful anti-aging intervention available for the legs, more powerful than any supplement, any medication, or any passive therapy. And at Dr. Alex Morgan, Aging Wellness Lab, this is the foundation upon which everything we recommend is built. The first exercise is the seat to stand, and I want you to reframe the way you think about this movement before I even describe it. This is not a simple warm-up drill. This is one of the most clinically significant functional movements in all of aging research. The ability to rise from a seated position without using your arms is such a reliable indicator of overall health and longevity that it has been incorporated into multiple clinical assessment tools used by physicians and physical therapists to evaluate aging patients. A study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology followed over 2,000 adults for over 6 years and found that those who struggled to sit and stand from the floor without support had a 5 to 6 times higher risk of dying during the study period compared to those who could do it easily. 5 to 6 times from one movement. That is how much information this simple action contains about the state of your lower body and your overall health. Here's how to perform the sit to stand correctly for maximum benefit. Sit in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. Your feet should be positioned so your ankles are slightly behind your knees, not out in front of you. Lean forward slightly from your hips, not your waist, so your chest moves toward your knees. Then drive through your heels to stand up using your leg muscles to do the work rather than your arms. Once fully standing, pause for a full second at the top, squeeze your glutes, and make sure your body is completely upright. Then slowly lower yourself back to the chair in a controlled manner. Do not just drop down. Lowering slowly engages the eccentric strength of your quadriceps, which is one of the most powerful stimuli for muscle growth and maintenance. Aim for 10 to 15 repetitions. As you get stronger, reduce the height of the chair to increase the difficulty, or hold a light weight to your chest to increase the load. What this exercise trains is not just leg strength. It trains the entire movement pattern of rising from a surface, which is one of the most critical functional movements for independent living. Every time you get up from a chair, a couch, a toilet seat, or a car seat, you are performing this movement. When it becomes difficult, the quality of your daily life begins to restrict. When you train it specifically and consistently, you preserve and improve one of the most fundamental capacities of human independence. The second exercise is the lateral band walk, or if you do not have a resistance band, a modified version called the lateral step. And this one targets something that almost no one talks about when they discuss leg strength. The hip abductors, specifically the gluteus medius, which is the muscle on the outer side of your hip that controls the sideways stability of your pelvis and knee during every step you take. Let me tell you why this muscle matters so enormously for older adults. When the gluteus medius is weak, the pelvis drops on the opposite side every time you lift a foot to take a step. This creates a side-to-side wobble that most people attribute to balance problems, but which is actually a strength deficit. It also causes the knee to collapse inward with each step, generating abnormal compressive stress on the inner knee joint, which is one of the primary mechanical causes of knee arthritis progression. And it creates asymmetrical loading on the lower back with every stride, contributing to chronic lumbar pain. Strengthening the gluteus medius through lateral movement exercises simultaneously addresses balance, knee health, and lower back stability. It is one of the most leveraged exercises on this entire list in terms of the number of problems it solves with one movement. If you have a light resistance band, place it around your ankles or just above your knees. Stand with your feet hip-width apart, bend your knees slightly into a quarter squat position, and take 10 slow, controlled steps to the right, keeping tension on the band the entire time. Then 10 steps back to the left. Keep your core engaged, your back upright, and resist the urge to lean your upper body in the direction of movement. The whole point is to make the hip muscles do the work without compensating through the trunk. Without a band, simply take wide, slow, deliberate lateral steps in the same pattern, pausing for 2 seconds on each step to maximize the balance challenge. Do 3 sets of 10 steps in each direction daily. The third exercise is the single leg stance, and this is where we directly address the fall risk that is the most serious consequence of leg aging in older adults. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in Americans over 65. 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls each year. And the root cause of most of those falls is not the environment. It is not the slippery floor or the loose rug. It is the diminished balance and reaction speed that made the person unable to recover when they encountered that floor or that rug. Balance is a trainable physical quality. It deteriorates with inactivity and improves with practice. And single leg stance training is the most direct and evidence-based way to improve it. Here's how to do it safely. Stand next to a counter or sturdy chair and place one hand lightly on the surface. Just a fingertip touch for safety, not a grip for support. Lift 1 foot an inch or 2 off the floor and hold the position for 20 to 30 seconds, focusing on a fixed point on the wall in front of you to help stabilize your gaze and your balance. Then switch feet. As you improve, progress to doing this with your eyes closed, which removes the visual input your balance system normally relies on and forces your vestibular system and proprioceptive receptors to work harder. The progression from eyes open to eyes closed on a single leg is one of the most effective balance training progressions in the rehabilitation literature, and it can be practiced at the kitchen counter while you are waiting for a coffee to brew. 3 sets of 30 seconds per side daily is enough to produce measurable improvements in balance within 4 to 6 weeks. The research on proprioception, the body's sense of its own position in space, shows that this sense degrades significantly with age, and that degradation is one of the primary contributors to fall risk. Single leg stance training directly stimulates the proprioceptive receptors in the ankle, knee, and hip, essentially calibrating and sharpening the body's position sensing system. You are not just practicing standing on one leg. You are training your nervous system to respond more accurately and more quickly to the subtle shifts in body position that precede a fall, giving yourself the fraction of a second of reaction time that makes the difference between catching yourself and hitting the floor. The fourth exercise is the reverse lunge, and I am choosing this over the forward lunge specifically because of how it loads the knee joint. Forward lunges create a significant shear force on the front of the knee that can be uncomfortable or even painful for older adults with existing knee sensitivity. The reverse lunge, stepping backward rather than forward, shifts the loading pattern in a way that emphasizes the glutes and hamstrings more than the quadriceps, reduces anterior knee stress, and is generally better tolerated by seniors with any degree of knee discomfort. Here is the technique. Stand behind your sturdy chair with both hands lightly on the back for balance. Take a moderate step backward with your right foot landing on the ball of that foot. Lower your right knee toward the floor in a controlled descent. Stop before it touches the floor at a height that is comfortable for you. Your left thigh should be close to parallel with the floor at the bottom of the movement. Drive through your left heel to stand back up, bringing your right foot forward to the starting position. Alternate legs, doing 10 repetitions per side. What the reverse lunge trains is unilateral leg strength, one leg at a time, which is the strength pattern that actually governs most of what you do in daily life. Walking is a series of single leg support phases. Climbing stairs is a single leg movement. Getting in and out of a car involves single leg support. When you train with both legs simultaneously, as in a regular squat, you allow the stronger leg to compensate for the weaker one, a compensation that never gets corrected and that leads to progressive asymmetry and imbalance. The reverse lunge forces each leg to do its own work, correcting strength imbalances, improving coordination, and building the functional real-world lower body strength that squats alone cannot fully develop. The fifth exercise is one that I consider the most underappreciated movement in all of senior fitness, and it is something that every single person reading or listening to this can begin today with zero equipment and zero risk. Slow walking with intentional heel-to-toe contact. I know that sounds almost insultingly simple, but stay with me, because what I am about to describe is not your regular walk. It is a neurologically targeted gait retraining practice that addresses one of the most common and most dangerous movement degradations in older adults, the shuffle. As people age, particularly when they have concerns about falling, the walking pattern naturally shifts. Steps get shorter. The heel strike weakens or disappears entirely. The foot begins landing more flat, or even toe first. The arms swing less. The pace slows. This shuffle pattern feels safer, it feels more controlled, but it is actually more dangerous because it reduces the activation of the hip flexors and calf muscles that generate propulsion. It reduces proprioceptive input to the balance system, and it creates a movement pattern that provides less stability, not more. Research on gait training in older adults consistently shows that deliberately practicing a full heel-to-toe walking pattern with a conscious intentional heel strike, a full roll through the foot, and a strong push-off from the toes reactivates the neuromuscular patterns that the shuffle has allowed to go dormant. Here's how to practice it. Find a clear, safe hallway or outdoor path. Walk slowly on a slower than normal and focus entirely on the mechanics of each step. Feel your heel make deliberate contact with the ground first. Feel your weight roll forward through the arch of your foot. Feel your toes push off the ground at the end of each stride. Swing your arms naturally in opposition to your legs. Take 10 slow, deliberate steps focusing entirely on this pattern. Then walk normally. Then return to the deliberate pattern for another 10 steps. 15 minutes of this conscious gait practice daily, either as its own session or incorporated into a regular walk, has been shown to meaningfully improve gait velocity, stride length, and balance scores in older adults. It is neurological re-education dressed up as walking, and it is free, safe, and available to everyone. Now let me put all 5 of these together into a practical daily structure because I want you to leave this video with something you can actually implement. In the morning, after your body has had a chance to warm up with a few minutes of gentle movement, start with the single leg stance. 3 sets of 30 seconds per side while you are at the kitchen counter. This takes under 5 minutes and primes your neuromuscular system and balance for the day. Then move into your sit to stand practice. 10 to 15 repetitions from a sturdy chair. This takes another 3 to 4 minutes. In the afternoon or evening, do your lateral band walks. 3 sets of 10 steps in each direction, followed by your reverse lunges, 10 repetitions per leg. This takes 6 to 8 minutes. And then finish with your intentional heel-to-toe walk, even if it is just up and down your hallway for 10 minutes. Total daily time, approximately 18 to 20 minutes. And the cumulative effect of doing this every single day, not occasionally, but every day, is what the research shows produces the meaningful, lasting improvements in leg strength, balance, and functional capacity that change the aging trajectory. I want to share something personal here, and it is something that shapes the way we approach every topic at Dr. Alex Morgan, Aging Wellness Lab. I have had the privilege of reviewing a lot of research on human aging, and the finding that strikes me most every time I return to it is how modifiable the aging process is when people are given the right information and act on it consistently. The biology of aging is not kind. It works against us in specific measurable ways. But the biology of exercise adaptation is also not casual. It responds to stimulus at every age. Muscles grow stronger at 70. Balance improves at 75. Nerve-to-muscle communication sharpens at 80 when it is challenged consistently. These are not motivational statements. They are documented biological realities backed by controlled research in older adult populations. The difference between an 80-year-old who lives independently, walks confidently, and moves through the world with strength and assurance, and one who does not, is not mostly genetics. It is mostly habit. It is the 10 to 20 minutes of daily movement that has been practiced consistently for years. It is the understanding of why those specific movements matter, and the motivation that comes from that understanding. That is exactly what this channel is built to provide, and that is why I am asking you to take what you learned today seriously. Not just watch it, but actually do it. Before you close out this video, I want to ask you something that I genuinely mean. Drop a comment below right now and tell me, which of these 5 exercises are you going to start with today? Maybe it is the sit to stand because you have already noticed it getting harder. Maybe it is the single leg stance because your balance has been worrying you. Maybe it is the intentional walking because you have never thought about your gait pattern before and now you cannot stop thinking about it. Whatever it is, write it down in the comments, because the act of writing it makes it more likely you will actually do it. That is not just motivational wisdom, that is behavioral science. And your comment helps other people in this community feel seen and encouraged, which is what keeps this community strong. And if you have someone in your life, a parent, a spouse, a sibling, a neighbor, who has been noticing their legs getting weaker, their balance getting shakier, or their confidence on stairs getting lower, please share this video with them today. Not tomorrow, today. Because the earlier someone understands what is actually happening in their legs and what they can do about it, the better their outcome is going to be. This is exactly the kind of information that changes lives when it reaches the right person at the right time. Subscribe if you have not already. Take these 5 exercises seriously. Practice them daily. And I will see you in the next video at Dr. Alex Morgan, Aging Wellness Lab, where we will keep going deeper into everything your body needs to stay strong, stable, and fully alive in every single year ahead.